right, it is football with Mclovin.
What's up, guys?
Oh man, how you doing over there?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
How you doing over here? So let's start with news and notes from a few days ago. Petty takes Dolphins' best shots, can't continue. Jets quarterback Bryce Petty will have a CT scan Sunday to determine if there's damage to his lungs after he left Saturday night's game with a chest injury.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of this game. The Jets stormed out to a
7-0 lead.
Or I think it was 10-3.
Yeah.
And then Miami just shit all over them from there. You got to give a lot of credit to Adam Gase, who is a personal friend of mine. They really they blocked the punt. They took it to the house, interception. I actually called one of the interceptions.
Yeah, you did.
Right before the play.
Yep.
Basically, the Jets really just got steamrolled, and they gave up. Todd Bowles once again looked like a lost infant child on the sidelines. Petty, I'm not sold on him. I thought he was a decent quarterback coming out of college at Baylor. But basically, the Jets are from a team that started where they did this season coming in. They had a shot, maybe 10-6, 9-7. They started off decently, and it seemed like when Eric Decker got hurt, they just fell apart. Fitzpatrick's been an absolute disaster this year.
He doesn't even Fitzhenry anymore.
So when you look at the Jets, they still have a lot of talent. I think that the defensive lineman there that has had troubles with suspension, I think he's going to be released. Maybe a guy that Pat's Wilkinson.
Sheldon Richardson.
But overall, haven't really seen too much from Bryce Petty. He's a great college quarterback, but we'll see. If Bryce Petty's starting next year for them, they're in a lot of trouble. So they're one of these teams that need to get involved in the quarterbacks, whether it's Kirk Cousins or the guy from Cutler. I think Drew Brees is a free agent. Alex Smith, I think, is a free agent. So there's a decent amount of quarterbacks out there, and the Jets have to compete. They don't really care much about competing with the rest of the league. They just care about competing with the Giants. And so far, the Giants have really been a better team throughout. So we'll see what happens.
Bills likely to part ways with Ryan, sources say. The Bills are likely to part ways with head coach Rex Ryan, according to league sources.
I was thinking about this, and then I look and they see the Buffalo Bills are 7-7 right now, with 2 games that they can win, home against Miami and then at the Jets. So I don't think you can fire him if he wins out with a 9-7 record, even though they wouldn't make the playoffs. If you can go 9-7 in Buffalo, that's pretty much been the benchmark for all the coaches that have come through there. Doug Marrone and Malarkey and all these other coaches. I don't know if you can fire him at 9-7. I don't know. It's has it been a down year? Yes, but you have Tyrod Taylor as your quarterback. You can't. He's not a guy that can win you games. I think the defense, for the most part, has played better than everyone thought they were going to play. Rex is obviously a defensive coach, but I'd be shocked. I'd be absolutely shocked if they go 9-7. They win these last 2 games. If they can beat Miami at home and then beat the Jets on the road, I think that winning the last 3 games should hold his job into next year. But we'll see. They might be sick of him up there, just like everybody else is sick of him, just because of his mouth. But we'll see.
Sources: Giants to be fined for walkie-talkie use. The NFL is expected to fine the Giants for Coach Ben McAdoo's illegal use of walkie-talkies during the team's Week 14 win over the Cowboys, according to sources. And the updated article on this was that he was fined $50,000 and that the Giants were fined $150,000. And because they supposedly used the walkie-talkie for 5 plays, they lose draft pick placement.
Correct. They lost their 4th-round draft pick. It's going automatically to the end of the 4th round. I know they were fined by the league, and we were talking about this the other day. And the bottom line is that if this were the New England Patriots, then
Brady would have been suspended 700 games.
Correct. We'd still be talking about this endless conversation. The fact of the matter is the Giants. Mara has is one of the top owners in the league. They're not going to penalize Mara for something like this, even though it was clearly illegal. And clearly, if New England had the same walkie-talkie thing, then it would have been the third or fourth thing, and they'd be killing them. And everyone would be saying they're cheating again and cheating again. I mean, if you look down at all the lists, I mean, they were also deflating footballs, okay? Or was that Pittsburgh?
It was Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh was deflating footballs. They glazed over that. Giants are using walkie-talkies, which is clearly against the rules of the game and against the law. And no one's talking about it because the media is not. It's not a sexy topic like it is with New England. So they got off easy. But there's a lot of things that play into that.
So, sources: Floyd's BAC, or blood alcohol content, will affect NFL punishment. Sources say Michael Floyd's discipline will depend on the level of his intoxication from blood tests last week when the ex-Cardinals receiver was arrested. Now, update on this, he was at .21.
Oh, boy.
Which is like 4 times the legal limit.
Yeah.
So, or something along those lines. So, what do you think of that sexy article?
I mean, from what I hear and what I've read, he's not that type of guy, the partying type. But all it takes is one time, and then then you're viewed as someone you're really not. The Patriots got an absolute steal by picking him up. We'll see what happens, but I think he'll get maybe a game suspension, maybe 2. I don't know. It's his first offense, as far as I believe, and we'll see if he can get in the lineup, because once he starts playing with Tom Brady, good night. With next year, if they have him with all the offense that they have, then you're going to see a guy like Chris Hogan and a guy like Danny Amendola probably sent packing. But the bottom line is that New England now has this guy. He's a first-round draft pick. He was overshadowed by Larry Johnson in Arizona. I think he's a great player. He's going to be a great addition, and I'm sure he'll have either a strict warning or a game suspension, depending on the new laws, which I don't even know in the end. They change them so much what the protocol is, but he made a mistake. I'm sure he is already thus far, probably from hearing from family members or other coaches, that he definitely messed up. I think he knows he messed up. But, he got silver lining was that he ended up with the Patriots, which is a chance for him to win the Super Bowl this year. And then going next year, I think the Pats will re-sign him. I know he's unrestricted free agent or a restricted free agent, meaning that if he signs somewhere else, the Patriots will get a draft pick. And then he's only making, $2.1 million?
1.2.
1.2 million. So, I think that it was a blessing in disguise for both the Patriots and Michael Floyd, and I think he's going to add a lot to that receiving core, especially with Tom Brady.
Backup Seahawks defensive end Moore charged with DWI. Seahawks defensive lineman DeMontre Moore was arrested Saturday on charges of driving while under the influence and driving with a suspended license.
That's not good. He'll definitely get a call from the league office. It's. When you get involved in drinking and driving, it's never good, because you could possibly injure yourself. You could injure somebody else. The law is pretty strict against drunk driving and DUIs and OUIs and DWIs. So yeah, he'll probably be in a little bit of trouble with the league.
Ben Roethlisberger gets customized suits for Steelers offensive linemen. The Steelers quarterback, who has been known to splurge on his line, got his personalized tailor to dress his blockers with customized suits, shoes, and shirts.
Good for him. I mean, that's a true, quarterback taking care of his offensive line. Without his offensive line, he would probably wouldn't be as successful. And I like to see when quarterbacks take care of their offensive linemen. I think that's pretty cool. So.
Bowles calls Richardson's video, quote, unacceptable.
I didn't see it.
Jets coach Todd Bowles said he will, quote, have a conversation with defensive lineman Sheldon Richardson about a pregame video that contains several expletives.
Did you see it?
No, but it was something about, I forget what he was screaming about. It was racist or I forget what he was saying. It was something bad.
Well, I haven't seen it.
Sure.
Basically, from the sounds of it, it doesn't sound good. But he did go out and play well in that game. I think Bulls added to that.
Sure.
But we'll see what happens. I mean, anytime you're on tape, using swear words, especially this day and age, it's tough, especially when you're in a locker room and everybody is around there looking at you and all this other garbage. So.
Not a record, but Bears-Packers temp still frigid at 11 degrees. The Bears and Packers fell short of breaking the record for coldest game played at Soldier Field, but the game time temperature of 11 was no picnic.
No, I watched a little bit, just the highlights, and then they turned over to it. That's a tough place to play in the cold, and Green Bay is very experienced playing cold weather football, playing in Green Bay. I thought Green Bay did a hell of a job. Completing that pass that late to Jordy Nelson and getting up there and kicking the field goal. I think you got to give a lot of credit to the Bears who've been out of it for weeks now, to stay in it and basically give them a game. They were down 27-10 at one point, and they came back and tied it up. So I think John Fox, did a great job by keeping his guys up, especially in the home crowd. The Bears fans are loyal fans. They're going to show up whether they're 16-0 or 0-16. And I think it was a good game to watch, and it was a great ending that keeps Green Bay's season alive.
Tucker ties record with 10th 50-plus yard field goal. Justin Tucker kicked his 10th field goal from 50 yards or beyond Sunday, tying an NFL record set by former Vikings kicker Blair Walsh in 2012.
Pretty incredible. I mean, if a guy hits a 50-yarder once, it's viewed as something that is not very seen very much around the league. To do it 10 times, God bless him. I know he's a big kicker. He's got a big foot. He plays on a good team who gives him good opportunities to make field goals. So. He's one of the best, or maybe not, or maybe even the best out there, with Gostkowski having such a shitty year.
Osweiler benched. Savage rallies Texans to win. Brock Osweiler was benched by the Texans midway through the second quarter, after which his replacement, Tom Savage, guided Houston to victory over the Jaguars.
Yeah, good for Tom Savage. I remember watching him with when he was at Rutgers. Obviously, the Brock Osweiler experiment. I mean, Bill O'Brien, you got to give him a lot of credit. He finally said, "Look, this guy is not helping us, and he's really digging us really in ditches." And it's tough to come back. And I think we all pretty much now know that the reason the Texans are so bad this year is because of Brock Osweiler and the decision to give him all that money,
$37 million
guaranteed, and 73 over however many years.
4
years, 70. So. I think, all that went out, when you're losing to Jacksonville and he's throwing the ball to the other team and, really playing like absolute dog shit, right, Wayne? It was time to make a decision. He made a decision, and, that's, he's not only trying to win the division, he's trying to save his own job. And Osweiler is doing everything in his power to get him fired, not intentionally, but... I think there was, it came a point in time where he had to, make the decision. He did it at the right time, and now, Tom Savage is the guy. So we'll see.
Giants lose Jenkins to back injury after collision. After colliding with Lions tight end Eric Ebron in the first half, Giants cornerback Janoris Jenkins left the game with a back injury.
I didn't see this, but, it doesn't sound good. They need a guy like that to fill up the middle against the run, so we'll see how that injury progresses.
Scary thought for playoff teams. Giants winning with defense. The Giants finished the regular season 7-1 at home. Their home dominance has them on the brink of qualifying for the postseason.
This, I watched the Detroit Lions game the Giants played, and this Giants team is, it's really funny to watch them because at times they look just, anemic on offense. Their defense has been bailing them out, and all they need to do is make one play and they win the game. Detroit, I give Detroit a lot of credit. They're a really good football team, and I think they may surprise some people in the playoffs. But the Giants secondary, this kid Eli Apple, who's come out of nowhere, 10th overall pick, is really playing well. Andrew Adams, who's a guy that used to work when I worked at the University of Connecticut, he was a collegiate athlete there on the football team. He's really come out of nowhere and done a lot of things. I think you got to give a lot of credit. They're doing all these with their defense without their best defensive end and best defensive pass rusher, which I mean I'm just shocked. And their offense, they're not world beaters on offense. They're not scoring 40, 50 points a game. They're scoring 16 to 20, 21 maybe. And basically they're allowing their defense to win games for them. And we've seen in the past that if you have a great defense, you'll win the Super Bowl. They have to stay healthy, and I think there's the Giants are such a funny team that even if they were to go play, let's say they go to play Jacksonville, no one would be surprised if they got upset by Jacksonville just because that's the team. The Giants are not a sure win, but when they do win, they play all 4 quarters. I think you have to give a lot of credit to Ben McAdoo and Steve Spagnuolo as a defensive coordinator because they're if not the best team in the NFC, the second best. They've beat Dallas twice. So we'll see. It should be interesting when it comes to the playoffs.
Peterson rushes for 22 yards, fumbles, and return. Adrian Peterson rushed for just 22 yards on 6 carries and lost a fumble in his first game back from a knee injury Sunday. The Minnesota Vikings lost 34-6 at home versus the Indianapolis Colts.
I saw him working out before the game, and he was all like he was playing in the Super Bowl or something like that. But basically, it didn't work out well. He got the decent amount of carries, didn't run well, fumbled, and I think they brought him back too quick. But anytime Adrian Peterson says he wants to play, then the fans get excited, and you have to play him. But basically, Minnesota, is another one of those teams that go 5-0 and then really shit the bed. I think they're done. They're clearly done, and they have to regroup next year with a healthy Teddy Bridgewater, and they still have some Stephon Diggs and Kyle Rudolph and Peterson. Obviously, their defense is solid. But overall, I think this season you just got to chalk it up to a bad season. Mike Zimmer, almost losing one of his eyes. I think just a lot of bad things happened this year for them.
Okay, so Bidwell says Floyd showed no remorse for DUI arrest. Cardinals president Michael Bidwell said Sunday on the team's pregame show he was, quote, disappointed in how, and, quote, unapologetic Michael Floyd handled a number of things stemming from his DUI arrest.
I can't comment on that. I don't know if he was remorseful, if he wasn't. Whatever way it worked, whether he was or he wasn't, the bottom line is he was released and picked up by the Patriots. So, God bless New England Patriots.
Steelers to Hill. Don't disrespect terrible towel. The Steelers had a message for Bengals running back Jeremy Hill. Don't disrespect the terrible towel. Hill pretended to rip one of the famed black and gold towels, but was effectively shut out afterward.
I agree. I mean, anytime you're caught up in a rivalry like those teams are, those are bitter rivals, and it's all a bunch of shenanigans. Who cares? But I agree. Don't. I mean, as much as I hate the Steelers, don't mess with the terrible towel.
Okay, sticking with Blake Bortles among things that cost Gus Bradley his job.
What's that?
Sticking with Blake Bortles among things that cost Gus Bradley.
Well, yeah. I mean, Gus Bradley, he's a great guy, great individual, former defensive coordinator with the Seahawks with a Super Bowl win. Went, 14-40 or something like that, 16-40. Blake Bortles really has, after having such a great rookie year last year, he's really stepped back and become a terrible, terrible quarterback, and for sure did not help Gus Bradley in saving his job. He ran him into the ground more or less. That Jacksonville team, once again, no one can figure them out. They're going to have a new head coach. They're going to need a new quarterback, and we'll see where that goes. But it just seems like Jacksonville has yet to get the ball rolling, and even when they get high draft picks, they screw it up. So we'll see what happens. Gus Bradley will have a job as soon as possible. When after the Super Bowl, he'll be someone's defensive coordinator, and they'll be happy to have him. So we'll see what happens next.
Okay, another OBJ one-handed catch helps lift Giants. Odell Beckham Jr. makes another one-handed catch and scores a touchdown, helping the Giants to a 16-7 win over the Lions.
I saw this catch; it was unbelievable. It was right on the sideline. I think it was 3rd and goal from the 4, and Eli threw it out there, and Odell made an unbelievable catch. Odell Beckham, talent-wise, he's either 1, 2, or 3, however you want to put him in the entire league. As far as an athlete, as far as a pass catcher, if he just didn't have such a, if he was raised better or had any respect for the game or for the teammates for his opponents, would be more well liked throughout the league. The refs hate him. They're gonna throw a flag on him just because he bitches and moans and cries all the time. And really, Odell Beckham is really not a fair, reflection on the Giants as a whole. Eli keeps his mouth shut and plays, and Ben McAdoo, you can never hear a peep out of him. And they have to deal with this guy and all his shenanigans because of the fact he is Odell Beckham and he can change a game. And you get the ball in his hands, and he can score from wherever he wants to score for him. But he can't keep his mouth shut. So. Tremendous talent that all 32 teams would deal with his shenanigans just to have him on the team. But, there's going to come a point in time where, he's really going to hurt the Giants. We'll see when that happens.
Jaguars fire Coach Bradley after 14-48 record. Jacksonville Jaguars have fired head coach Gus Bradley, ending one of the least successful coaching tenures in NFL history.
Yeah. Well, what did we... Andy was going through the... coach, how many losses it would take for Bill Belichick?
It was like 670 in a row or something.
So Bill Belichick for Gus Bradley to have a better winning percentage than Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick would have to lose like 662 games in a row, which is what did we say? It was like 41 years.
Sure. No, yeah. Well,
41.75 years. Yeah. So, that's Jacksonville all written all over it.
Here's something written all over it. Pax Rogers adds to late game lore versus Bears. The Packers tied with Chicago 27-27 and facing 3rd and 11 from their own 26-yard line with under a minute remaining, decided not to settle for overtime, and Aaron Rodgers complied.
This was the late coverage. We were watching this game
like men.
I'll tell you what, Aaron Rodgers, people, and he's been my fantasy quarterback for the last 2 years, and I've played him every week, and he's been a top 3 fantasy quarterback, and people are just ripping him because of his, because they're putting all the Green Bay's troubles on him. He's definitely a polarizing quarterback. They always cut to him. He's doing something. What do they call it? The fast track.
Yeah.
No, it's not what it's called.
What are you talking about?
The insurance company.
What insurance company?
He does the when he
Aflac?
No, he does the fast when he does the belt when he goes like this.
Progressive Farmers?
Yeah.
Is it Farmers?
Farmers Insurance?
Yeah, Packers.
But
no, Discount Double Check.
Yeah, the Discount Double Check.
Okay, so what is that from? I forget.
Anyway. And how, he was exposed for his lack of a relationship with his parents and his family, which is sad. But the guy's a winner. I'll take him on my team any day of the week. All these people that are complaining about Aaron Rodgers, and then if they ask him if they want him to be their team's quarterback, there's only one team I would say that they would turn down Aaron Rodgers for what they currently have, and that's New England. I think Aaron Rodgers is the second best quarterback in this league. He has been. I know Stephen A. Smith still says he's a better quarterback than Brady. Stephen A. Smith's a fucking idiot. So, don't take what he has to say for a grain of salt. But anyway, the Packers are a scary team. They win these last 2 games. They're rolling. I think they'd probably be winning 5 or 6 or 7 in a row. They go into the playoffs, and nobody's going to want to play them just because of Aaron Rodgers and how good he is, and Jordy Nelson, and now Ty Montgomery, who is a running back who ran for 163 yards on 16 carries or something like that, and 2 touchdowns. So watch out for Aaron Rodgers and watch out for the Green Bay Packers.
All right. Falcons optimistic Jones can return versus Panthers. Coach Dan Quinn hopes the Falcons receive an early Christmas gift in the return of receiver Julio Jones. Quinn said it looks promising for Jones, who on Sunday missed his second straight game.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, Julio Jones is a guy that is probably the second best wide receiver in the NFL behind Antonio Brown with the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a guy who the team clearly needs in a bad way, and I think he will eventually be back in helping the Falcons in the playoffs.
Running back Ingram, need to, quote, control my emotions better. Saints running back Mark Ingram said he needs to, quote, control my emotions better after TV cameras caught him shouting at New Orleans coach Sean Payton on the sideline during Sunday's win in Arizona.
I didn't see this, but clearly, he needs to do a better job.
Cowboys top Bucks inch closer to division title. 3 fourth-quarter field goals combined with some big Ezekiel Elliott runs left Dallas to a victory over Tampa Bay.
Yeah, the Bucks played them hard, and the better team won. But the Tampa, that's another team that if they sneak into the playoffs, there'll be a team that needs to be dealt with. I think they're a good football team, and they've been coached well, and they have a great quarterback. So we'll see what happens.
Report: Broncos squabble erupts in locker room. A locker room shouting match between Broncos defensive backs and offensive linemen escalated when coach Gary Kubiak asked if anyone would like to speak after a 16-3 loss to the Patriots.
Yeah, Russell Okung talked, and I guess Aqib Talib didn't like it, and there was a banter back and forth, and that's just all frustration and all emotion. So I mean, I'm sure they're over it by now.
Jerry, Salvation Army should give Elliott an award. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones was fine with Ezekiel Elliott's post-touchdown hop into a Salvation Army kettle, saying the charitable organization should give the rookie rusher an award.
I don't know about giving him an award. I mean, Salvation Army, I think he did a good thing. People are talking about Salvation Army. I don't know what kind of award they can give him, but, well, yeah, why not?
Time for Patriots fans to book a flight to Houston again. There won't be any sleep lost over Tom Brady's mediocre stats in the Week 15 win in Denver. That's because these Pats are on a path to the Super Bowl, much like the 0-3 team that won it in Texas.
Yeah, well, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. I think they're the best team in the NFL. I think if they can lock up home field, then I think they will go to the Super Bowl, barring no turnovers when they do play. I think hopefully they can avoid Baltimore and Pittsburgh, because I know if they play Baltimore or Pittsburgh at home, those teams have no problem. They're tough teams, and they have won in New England. It's not a good, favorable matchup for New England. If they played Kansas City, they'd kill Kansas City, or I think they'd beat Oakland pretty handily. Now that Derek Carr has his broken finger or whatever, they're clearly not the same team. But we'll see. Miami, I hope to see Miami get in there, and I hope that Pittsburgh and or Baltimore, one of them, does not get in, so the Patriots don't have to worry about playing them. So, I guess you can go ahead and book your tickets. I remember when when I took my father to the Super Bowl, we had to make that decision on week 11, of the season. They said this is the last time you can get your Super Bowl tickets because you got tickets for working in the NFL. And I said, we have to make a decision now. This is their undefeated season if they're going to actually go to the Super Bowl, and they did. And so, it's better to book early, but, I'm still very superstitious that if, you were booked now, then they wouldn't go there. But if you didn't book, they would. But then you can't go if you didn't book. So however you want to slice it.
Source, Jets quarterback Petty may play with chest bruise. The Jets are hopeful that quarterback Bryce Petty, who sustained a chest bruise against the Dolphins, according to a source, can start Saturday versus the Patriots.
Yeah, I don't know who's their backup. Do you know?
Hackenberg?
I don't know.
Well, it's Fitzpatrick and Christian Hackenberg. Geno Smith is injured.
Yeah, so Either way, they're in trouble.
Jags name Marone interim Bradley Lauds, Lauds, The Jacksonville Jaguars have named Doug Marone as their interim head coach for the final 2 weeks of the season.
Doug Marone, who was a former head coach up in Buffalo, good coach, well respected around the league. I've been through this twice, where a head coach has been fired, and an interim has taken over. The team plays like it's like their Super Bowl. They're going to come out and play like bats out of hell. So I hope they play well for Doug Marone.
Colts D lineman Jones to IR with groin injury. The Colts placed defensive lineman Arthur Jones on injured reserve on Monday.
Arthur Jones is a good player. They're really going to miss him. Anytime you have a guy going down this late in the year is going to affect how the rest of the season's played. But yeah, it's too bad.
Reports: Browns Pryor planning to play hurt. Browns wide receiver Terrell Pryor tore a finger ligament and will need surgery after the season, according to multiple reports.
I love this Pryor. He's an unbelievable athlete. You put the ball in his hands. He does a lot of things. He can play wide receiver. He can play running back. He can play quarterback if you need him to. I hope this is a guy that I would love to see in New England. But, good for him. I mean, there's a lot of Browns players that still have some pride that want to go out there and play football and just play the game that they've loved. So, God bless them.
Elliot's jump boosts Salvation Army donations. The Salvation Army said it took in $182,000 in the 12 and a half hours after Dallas Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott jumped into a red kettle during Sunday night's game against Tampa Bay.
Good. Yeah, that's good. Good to hear. And I'm sure they appreciate it. And, good for the Salvation Army.
Source: Giants cornerback Jenkins avoids serious injury. Giants cornerback Janoris Jenkins underwent testing on Monday, and the team is optimistic he avoided serious injury in Sunday's victory, a source confirmed to ESPN.
I saw what happened. Him and a teammate were converging on a pass breakup, and I think he collided with his teammate, and he was out for the rest of the game. But definitely, he's a big player they need. Browns
quarterback carnival continues as Hugh Jackson ponders another switch. The fact that Hugh Jackson would consider a quarterback change speaks to two things: how desperately he wants a win, and how he felt Robert Griffin III played.
Correct. I think they're shit out of the luck on both ways.
Packers coach: Rodgers' injured calf improving. Packers coach Mike McCarthy said Monday that quarterback Aaron Rodgers is, quote, better today than he was going into Sunday's game against the Bears.
That's good. He's going to play no matter what. So
Lions coach: Stafford can play well with glove. Detroit Lions coach Jim Caldwell said, quote, there's no question quarterback Matthew Stafford can perform with a glove on his injured throwing hand.
Correct. I agree with him.
Adrian Peterson has little room to run in return. Back in the lineup after 3 months, Vikings running back Adrian Peterson was hit within a yard of the line of scrimmage on 4 of his 6 carries Sunday.
Yeah, he's rusty.
Savage to remain Texans quarterback after getting win. Tom Savage was named the starting quarterback for the Texans this week after he replaced Brock Osweiler on Sunday.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the guy going forward.
Eagles Johnson returns from PED ban to start. Lane Johnson has been named the Philadelphia Eagles starter at right tackle for Thursday night's game against the New York Giants.
Basically, this guy's been out for, 10 weeks because of suspension. We'll see what he can do to help out the Philadelphia Eagles.
Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown surpassed Marvin Harrison, Jerome Bettis on same day. Le'Veon Bell surpasses Jerome Bettis' Steelers record for most yards from scrimmage in the first 4 seasons. Antonio Brown stays on record pace.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell's a lot better running back than Jerome Bettis was. And we'll see, if he can stay healthy and break all his records. Same with Antonio Brown, who's the best receiver in the league. So we'll see.
Kubiak downplays Broncos post-game squabble. Broncos coach Gary Kubiak downplayed his team's locker room squabble after a loss to the Patriots.
Like I said, I think they were just, frustration and emotion, and it happens, and it's, we'll see what I don't have much more to say about it. So
Josh Norman hasn't transformed Redskins D, but he has added value. By some measures, the Redskins overpaid for safety Josh Norman, but given the way he's changed the team's culture, they've gotten their money's worth.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they really hit a snide the other night against Carolina. We'll see what happens.
Giants running back Vereen re-injures triceps versus Lions. New York Giants running back Shane Vereen re-injured the same triceps that had sidelined him for the majority of the season. The running back suffered the setback Sunday in the 17-6 win over the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, exactly. He saw, he did get hurt again after coming back, and then it's too bad. He's a good third down back, and he would definitely help the Giants. But if he's hurt, he can't play.
Brady and Manning talk holiday plans after game. Tom Brady is used to seeing Peyton Manning on the field, but the ex-rivals met on more relaxed terms on Sunday, catching up and talking holiday plans before and after the Patriots-Broncos game.
Good.
OBJ Bell, NFL applied double standard to Elliott. Giants receiver Odell Beckham Jr. and Steelers running back Le'Veon Bell cried foul Monday over the NFL's decision not to fine Ezekiel Elliott for his Salvation Army kettle celebration.
Probably just because it was Salvation Army.
Redskins look bad in blowing chance to control playoff fate. Their future was in their hands, but the Redskins laid an egg, falling to the Panthers and putting themselves behind in the postseason hunt.
Correct. They controlled their own destiny, and they lost. They got beat pretty good by Carolina.
Cam regrets reaction after helmet hit non-call. Cam Newton said he should have kept his cool after getting flagged for tossing a ball to Redskins player, but Newton thought Washington should have also been penalized for a hit to his helmet.
He's always involved in something. I hate Cam Newton so much. He's always running his mouth, and I hate him.
Raise the bar. NFL lets fans experience Combine. In an effort to, quote, to allow for fans to get closer to the game, the NFL will expand fan access at its scouting Combine.
Yeah, the bottom line is, they just want to make money. That's it, and they'll
selling hot dogs.
They'll have the players out there, parading around like a bunch of cattle, so the players, the diehard fans, could pay money to see them, and really feel their sweat and eat their sweat, and for thousands of dollars. The NFL will just about do anything. They'll put anybody on stage for any amount of money because people will pay for it. So
because they want to watch sweaty men.
These guys are really doing a full interview for their job, their next level. It's their livelihood with their families and everything. But we'll bring in people
on some sweaty men type shit.
Correct.
Giants put Vereen back on IR with triceps injury. The Giants have placed running back Shane Vereen back on IR after he re-injured the same triceps that had sidelined him for the majority of the season.
Yeah, we talked about him.
Saints linebacker Anthony put on IR after poor season. A disappointing second season has come to an end for Saints linebacker Stephon Anthony, who was placed on IR with an unspecified knee injury.
That's too bad.
Falcons Jones to practice may play versus Panthers. Julio Jones, after missing 2 games with a sprained toe, will practice with an eye on returning against Carolina on Saturday.
Hopefully he can play.
Steelers tight end Green still in protocol, status iffy. Steelers tight end Ladarius Green is under concussion protocol and could miss Pittsburgh's game Sunday against the Ravens, which might decide the NFC North champion.
Correct. This is a big injury. They need him. This guy's been hurt, but he's a big part of that offense, so we'll see what happens.
Rivera is being cautious despite Kuechly's wishes. The Panthers are being cautious with Luke Kuechly's status despite the linebacker's desire to return from a concussion.
If the doctors say he can't play, then he can't play.
Bengals Eifert, Pro Bowl, quote, not worth the risk. Tyler Eifert made his stance on the Pro Bowl clear when he said in the offseason that he wouldn't go back. He has not changed his mind as the season winds down.
Did he get voted in?
I'm sure he did.
Yeah, well, everyone agrees that the Pro Bowl is a bunch of garbage, but you don't come out and knock it even more.
Rodgers, quote, to be closer to 100% versus Vikes. And Rodgers' mobility versus the Bears wasn't as restricted as he thought, and he hopes to be even better against the Vikings.
Well, whatever he is, 10%, 37%, 87%, 67%, he's going to play.
Giants fined $150,000 McAdoo $50,000 for walkie use. The NFL has fined the Giants $150,000 and Coach Ben McAdoo $50,000 for the illegal use of walkie-talkies during their Week 14 victory over the Cowboys, the league announced Tuesday.
They showed McAdoo on the sidelines like calling plays for a walkie-talkie. It looks so goofy. Yeah, you can't do that.
Jets discipline Richardson for vulgar Snapchat. New York Jets defensive end Sheldon Richardson has been disciplined by the team for making a profanity-laced Snapchat video in the locker room before losing to the Miami Dolphins last Saturday.
Yeah, that wasn't such a good idea for him.
Jaguars Ramsey expects fine for ripping refs. Jaguars cornerback Jalen Ramsey expects a big fine for criticizing refs, but he doesn't regret his words.
Yeah, you can't criticize the refs. You just can't do it. As much as we all want to do it, if you do it, you get hurt in the wallet.
Has NFL learned from Deflategate? Giants discipline provides hope. The Giants were disciplined appropriately, and they still didn't get off easy. The Patriots were not. Perhaps the league has learned from experience.
It's a bunch of garbage. Like I said, the Patriots are a persecuted team. It's all, it's sad that a team can, do even, the same things, and they just wash over it. So it's just it's a witch hunt against New England whenever they supposedly do something against the law.
Floyd arrest video won't affect status with Pats. Michael Floyd, who was claimed by the Patriots after he was waived by the Cardinals following a DUI arrest, will practice Wednesday.
Yeah, that's good. He's a good player.
Eagles Johnson, quote, let the team down with ban. As he gets ready to get back on the field with the Eagles after his suspension, a regretful Lane Johnson said he let his teammates down.
Yeah, he did, but guess what? He should have thought about that before he got suspended, so it's a bunch of bullshit.
To reclaim winning culture, 49ers need significant change. After another dismal loss, the 49ers are left to wonder what's next. It ought to be sweeping changes at all levels of the organization.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Trent Baalke, the GM, should not be fired. He should never be fired. He's that good of a talent evaluator. Chip Kelly, obviously, I guess no one's putting any blame on him. But if there has to go blame somewhere, it's going to be Trent, and they're going to fire him, and then some other team, he's going to walk right into their lap and help that team win a Super Bowl. I think that the 49ers, like I said, it all starts up top with Jed York. He's winning way over his head. He thinks he's his uncle. He'll never be his uncle. He'll never win like his uncle did. Then no one likes him. No one on the staff likes him. The players don't like him. He's arrogant. He's only, 32, 33 years old, and he's running an NFL team right into the ground. So, it's sad, but, hey, if you have money, then you can be the owner of a team.
How Ryan Shazier and Steelers D reclaimed their nasty. Ryan Shazier and the Steelers D have improved positionally, taken fewer penalties, and kept missed tackles to a minimum in their 5-game win streak.
Yeah, when you do the right things, you win football games. Don't
be that team. Chargers look to fend off winless Browns. The Chargers season has gone awry, but they are determined to avoid the indignity of becoming the first team to lose to 0-14 Cleveland.
They won't lose to 0-14 Cleveland.
Browns Pryor to play with painful hand injury. Browns wide receiver Terrell Pryor will play Saturday despite having a painful knuckle injury on his hand.
Yeah, I like Pryor. I'm glad to see him play.
Non-call on Cam Newton hit isn't as obvious as it appears. Walt Coleman's decision to not penalize the Redskins for a hit on Cam Newton drew some criticism, but the call wasn't as clear-cut as one might think.
I didn't see it. I'm sure if Cam Newton I just hate him. I hope he, somehow they shut his mouth.
Weight of Super Bowl loss, quote, not going away for Seahawks. Richard Sherman's recent comments about goal line play calling shows that the Seahawks Super Bowl loss is far from forgotten in the organization.
I hope it still sticks. I hope it keeps Pete Carroll up at night, Fuck Seattle. I fucking hate Seattle.
Hurt Seahawks safety Thomas torn on retirement. Pro Bowl safety Earl Thomas is torn on the idea of retirement, sometimes wanting to play and other times feeling like he should walk away.
Walk away, you suck.
Sherman sorry for reporter snark, not TNF rant. Seahawks cornerback Richard Sherman apologized Tuesday after threatening to, quote, ruin a reporter's career, but stood by his Thursday sideline outburst directed at the team's offense.
I didn't see or hear about it, but, I wish they could put him out to pasture.
Let's see here. What else we got going on? It had to be the gloves. Davante Adams destroys mitts after 2 drop touchdowns. What does it take for an NFL receiver to destroy his gloves? For the Packers, Davante Adams' 2 drop touchdown passes against the Bears did the trick.
Yeah. I guess the gloves weren't working.
Aaron Rodgers, quote, run the table wasn't a prediction, but something bigger. When Aaron Rodgers said the struggling Packers could, quote, run the table, many heard it as a prediction, but it was much more than that.
Good for him.
All right, that is it. We're going to the... You're fucking hilarious.
50 minutes.
No, hey, man, sometimes you get long-winded, you know what I'm saying?
I get long-winded.
Yeah, I'm just reading off the... I'm just reading off the deal here.
Let's talk about Terrell Pryor's broken knuckle for his 16th time.
I think I've maybe talked about 3 articles twice. So anyway, let's go into the. Hold on a minute. Let me get into this here. Hold on a minute. Where am I? All right. So let's go into the sports. Let's go into the stats. I mean, for last week. So against the spread, you went 10-5. You're now at 60% on the year.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And let's go into last week's statistics here. Vadix went 11-5. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. went 13-3. CV Gunn went 8-8, and Yes to Anything That Is Cool Awesome went 12-4. So the updated standings: in first place, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. is 145-75-2. Second place is Yes to Anything That Is Cool Awesome at 144-76-2, only a game behind. Third place we have CV Gunn at 128-92-2, 17 games out. And in last place we have Vadix at 117-103-2, 28 games out. Last week I went 10-6, but Mclovin won the week with a 14-2 record. That's a sexy record for a sexy guy.
Well, I mean, it's pretty. This stuff comes pretty easy to me, and I know everyone likes to challenge me, and likes to be 3 or 4 or 5 games back, but no one will ever beat me.
So Mclovin is now 150-70-2, 80 games over 500. And I am 122-98-2, 28 games behind. So here's the deal. For the overall standings, Mclovin has a 5-game lead over Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. with 2 weeks left. And as he's looking at it as a la-di-da-di-da situation.
It's over.
All right, so let's talk about...
Winnie make the picks. Winnie, you want to make the picks tonight? Winnie, come here. Come here, Win. Come here, girl. Come on. Come say hi to the camera. Where are you? Look at Win over here.
Look at Win over there.
Hi, Win.
Hi, Win.
You gonna make the pick? You gonna make my picks today?
She says, "Woof, woof, woof," is what she says.
Hi, Win. Okay.
All right, so let's go into this Thursday night's game. Giants facing the Eagles.
I haven't even looked at these. I honestly have not even looked at these.
All right, so here we go. Giants going into Philly. Giants on the road, favored by 2.5.
They always play. Take the Giants minus the 2.5.
All right, Miami against Buffalo. Buffalo at home, favored by 3.5 on Saturday.
Buffalo is favored?
Buffalo is favored at home by 3.5 over Miami.
Take Miami plus the points.
All right, then we have at 1 o'clock game, New York Jets go into New England. New England at home, favored by 16.5.
16.5. There's really no case you can make for the Jets in this game. I guess take New England minus the points.
All right, 1 o'clock Saturday game. Tennessee facing Jacksonville. Tennessee on the road, favored by 5.
Take Tennessee minus the points. Tennessee needs this win. They need to win all their games. If they beat Jacksonville, I think they pretty much sew up the NFC South or the AFC South division title. They need this win. Jacksonville is Jacksonville, so take Tennessee minus the 5.
Minnesota goes into Green Bay also at 1 o'clock. Green Bay at home, favored by 6.5.
Take Green Bay minus the 6.5. Once again, they need to continue to win. I think they'll win big against Minnesota. I think Minnesota has really thrown in the towel after a great 5-0 start. They're just a terrible football team right now, so take Green Bay minus the 6.5.
1 o'clock game, San Diego goes into Cleveland. San Diego on the road is favored by 6.
Take San Diego minus the points. I know everyone's thinking if Cleveland's ever going to win a game, it's this game. It's not going to happen. San Diego is gonna steamroll them, and so take San Diego minus the points.
Washington, 1 o'clock game. Washington goes into Chicago. Washington on the road, favored by 3.5.
Take Washington minus the 3.5. Washington still needs to win to keep pace and keep their their chances of making the playoffs. I think when teams have that extra play with that extra passion when they know they still have a playoff chance. So take Washington minus the points.
Well, another 1 o'clock game. Atlanta going into Carolina. Atlanta on the road, favored by 2.5.
Take Atlanta minus the points. Carolina, I know they just came off a win against Washington, but Atlanta is a better football team, and if they can even stop Cam once or twice with Atlanta's offense, they should be score a lot of points. So take Atlanta minus the 2.5 on the road.
All right, the only 4:05 game on Saturday has Indianapolis going into Oakland. Oakland at home, favored by 3.5.
What was the game?
Indianapolis into Oakland. Oakland at home, favored by 3.5.
Take Oakland minus the points. I know Carr's finger is probably a big reason why the spread is not as high as it should be. But, even though as well as Indianapolis is playing, they really haven't played a decent team in a while. So take Oakland at home to make sure they win that division, minus the 3.5.
All right, the first of three 4:25 games. Tampa Bay goes into New Orleans. New Orleans at home, favored by 3.
Take Tampa Bay plus the points. I think Tampa Bay will win this game outright. I think they'll win by 7 to 10 points outright. So take Tampa Bay plus the points.
Arizona goes into Seattle. Seattle at home, favored by 8.
Arizona into Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle's favored by 8.
Yeah.
This is probably the toughest one out there. If I had to make a prediction,
You have to.
I know. I'm thinking about it. Take. Fuck.
What do you think, Win?
Win Seattle or Arizona?
What would you do right now? She just said.
Seattle minus 8.
All right, then we got San Francisco going into Los Angeles.
Oh boy, what a game!
And the Rams are favored at home by 3.5.
Rams minus 3.5.
The 8:25 Saturday night game has Cincinnati going into Houston. Houston at home, favored by a point.
Cincinnati plus the point.
Now Sunday we have 4:30 game. Baltimore goes into Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh at home, favored by 5.5.
It's a big game. It's going to be close. You got to take Baltimore plus the points.
And then the 8:30 Sunday night game. Denver goes into Kansas City. Kansas City at home, favored by 3.5.
That defense is playing well. Denver plus the points.
And Monday night's game has Detroit going into Dallas. Dallas at home, favored by 7.
That's a great game. Detroit plus 7.
All right, so let's go into our picks. We have New York, Giants, and Philadelphia. Who do you have?
New York.
Okay. We have Miami and Buffalo. Who do you have?
Miami.
Okay, I'm going to say Buffalo at home. Then you got New York and the Pats.
New England.
Then you got Tennessee and Jacksonville.
Tennessee.
Then you got Minnesota and Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Then you got San Diego and Cleveland.
San Diego.
Then you got Washington and Chicago.
Washington.
I'm going to take Chicago.
That's a loss for you.
Matt Barkley's sick. He's sick with it, yo. Atlanta and Carolina.
Atlanta.
Okay. Indianapolis and Oakland.
Oakland.
Okay. Tampa and New Orleans.
Tampa.
Take New Orleans.
It's a loss.
Okay. Arizona, Seattle.
Seattle.
Okay. San Francisco, Los Angeles.
LA.
I'm going to take San Francisco.
Why?
Cincinnati, Houston. Who do you got?
Cincinnati.
I'm going to take Houston.
Oh my God. Halfway through Sunday, he's looking at the sheet. I'm sitting there with like a 6-0 and 1-5.
Baltimore, Pittsburgh. Not laughing now, are we?
Pittsburgh.
All right. Denver, Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Okay. And Detroit, Dallas.
I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to get it. I'm going to take Detroit. Upset special.
I'm also taking Detroit.
Upset special.
All right. Well, speaking of upset specials, it is your father's favorite time of the show. He loves this part of the show.
He can't, whenever I talk to him on the phone or text him, he loves EDP. He can't stop talking about EDP. My mom especially can't wait to hear EDP.
Hey Andy, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, man? You okay?
What happened?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay, man. I'm just frustrated, dude, and I'm very fucking irritable, man. Like, I start this new job tomorrow and I can't find my fucking belt, man. It's fucking annoying. I've been searching for 3 fucking days, dude.
All right, well, I'll talk to you after the show about that. Let's start with any upset of the week you got.
My upset of the week, I'm gonna take, man, dude, they better, you know what, man, they better fucking do something, dude. Aren't the Browns over the fucking Chargers, man? Fuck, dude.
All right, let's go right on into the differential picks. We got Miami going into Buffalo. Who do you have?
Miami going into, ooh, damn, that's, I'm going to take the Dolphins, dude. I think for the first time since Dan Marino, they might be in the fucking playoffs, right?
I think they won the division at 10-6 the year 2008. 2008 is the one year they won it?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. All right, so then what's the last time they were probably in the playoffs, though, was 2008.
Correct.
So it's a long time. All right, so you got Miami. Then we got, let's see here, we got Chicago and Washington.
I'm gonna go.
Washington goes into Chicago.
Oh shit, man. I'm gonna take the Bears, dude.
Yep.
I think Soldier Field is fucking hell to play at.
Yeah. All right. So I also took Chicago. So we're 1-1. We go next to Tampa Bay going into New Orleans.
Tampa Bay going into New Orleans. I am going to take Tampa Bay.
Okay.
They're fucking decent.
McLovin's up 2-1. Then we got San Francisco going into Los Angeles.
Man, who gives a fuck, man?
Jed York certainly doesn't. Tie, all right. And then we got the last game on the docket. We have Cincinnati going into Houston with Tom Savage now as a starting quarterback who looked great against Jacksonville.
I'm taking Cincinnati, man. My nigga Savage is fucking garbage.
What do you think of Matt Barkley coming back against the Packers?
Fuck Matt Barkley, man. I fucking hate that bitch, man. Like, I remember he came in versus the Giants in 2013, and he fucking sucked, man. He let us down the goddamn field and threw a fucking pick six. It's like, bitch, you fucking suck.
Who's worse, Matt Barkley or Brock Osweiler?
Oh, Matt Barkley by a fucking long shot.
Do you agree, McLovin?
They're both pretty bad. I would say Osweiler is still a better quarterback, but not by much.
All right, man. EDP, thanks a lot for coming on the show. Next week's the end of the regular season, but we still got a whole docket of games for this week. And message me later, all right, man?
All right, man. Sounds good, dog. You have a good one, man.
Merry Christmas.
All right, man. Merry Christmas.
All right, that's the show, bitches. Stay tuned for Scratch Ticket Thursday tomorrow. And me, McLovin, and Kenny, sexy Kenny, will be answering all the questions you guys have posted.
Yeah,
remember, you have
when can we do that?
We have tomorrow. It's going to happen tomorrow. We have 1 day left. So remember, go to the videos. Only questions that will be posted on the update of the Q&A and the actual original one will be answered. You have until 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon to get that done. Thanks for watching.
See you guys.